scary pause where it didn't do anything. I thought it was going to crash. It's fine.
Where am I getting?
So we now have 16. And Smolly's still deciding to not the Williams car.
I'm just waiting for the ad to finish. And then I'm just gonna check the audios, and then we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Should be good to go. Right, let me check if it's working. Give me a second. Yep, it's working. Okay.
Lovely. Lovely.
I'll have the stream up beside me so I can read chat as well, just in case anyone wants to
Nice.
say anything. We watch this calamity to unfold. Now time to do my favourite thing. How many crashes are you expecting? How many crashes do you think that's going to happen, Paulson, man?
Ooh, crashes, I haven't got a clue, but I reckon there won't be that many people finishing.
I reckon there'll be 2 safety cars and about 5 DNFs. As someone will have committed mass murder.
Yeah.
Nah, that's the joys of Tier 1.
Ah,
So competitive
say-
that it's dangerous.
yeah, I would say they might get through turn 1, but
After that, it's a
that is-
mystery.
yeah.
I've lost my computer mouse. That's not good. What's the delay? Why are we waiting 5 minutes?
Well, Smolly's no longer in the lobby for starters,
Totally.
so that's nice.
No, we're not waiting for the Queen.
Damn.
No, we don't wait for the Queen. No, I mean, yeah, we love the Queen. Rest in peace. Short. I thought it would in full quality. It was 16.
I haven't got a clue. I mean, for 16, that does seem a bit sad for whoever doesn't get through Q1, but
Yeah, but I mean, funny, isn't it?
that is a fair point. Though. I thought it was. I thought it was full quality. Ah, right. So.
Oh damn it! I got timed out by Toast because he kicked someone. But anyway, so I have 15 because Toast has kicked someone unfairly for no reason. But so he'll be first to come out here then.
Oh, yay, now I have one Williams into one. Joy.
Wait, oh yeah, you're Williams DP, aren't you? I've got both
Yeah.
Ferrari here, and I tried to get them both to come, and luckily they did. They were both taking time out of their busy nighttime schedule.
Alright, let's have a look. Spectator menu.
Sheehan's joining, I think, so we will have 16.
And we will
And
definitely have a problem at turn
it's
1.
Jack Ledford that's out in his first run in the Ferrari. Wasn't at pre-testing. Had other commitments, so couldn't turn up. So apparently, as according to the news from the media team, he's looking to try and one up on Shuey, try and beat him. It'll be interesting to see if he can beat Shui.
With Tier 1, there was not many people turn up for pre-season though, so people like Super Mario and...
There's a lot of people that I don't think we've seen race, and I think that'll be what's interesting.
As Jack will be the first round to the flag to start his first flyer. I reckon the fight for pole will be interesting. The race win possibly not as much, but
I
depends how the
think,
race pans out.
I think qualifying will be the most interesting.
Because at this point, it's not gonna go down to someone pinning someone. Necessarily, anyway. I mean, I doubt it. That'd be interesting. A bit of a quali. Oh,
Ted
hang on.
Kravitz
There's a
got
collision.
place.
There's a Merc collision.
And that's
Down the
no,
back.
that's no front wing.
Straight.
No front line for Ted, so you'll not be getting
And no front
on
wing
his
for
first
DJ
lap.
either.
That's 5 place grid penalty already, so I think any of Ted's attempts,
muck up.
as he also goes into the pits a bit quick there. Also, the pit limit in Tier 4 was 37.
Oh, there's a spinner. There's an Alpha Tauri round, and
it's
Jack hit Toast, and now has damage to front wing and another 5 place grid penalty.
To who?
Toast with no damage visible, but something happened that we didn't quite notice.
So who is it that's got the 5 place grid penalty?
Jack.
I mean, Fudge.
Jack with the 5
I said
place penalty
Fudge.
and a broken front wing.
So if Mick comes in, Mick comes and sues me for the 49p I have, then I said Fudge. Yeah, I'm just watching the replay on the stream. Yeah, bit of a nasty accident. But we move on.
More yellows as people get out of the way of other people. And Super Mario will be the first to cross the line now. That problem that went down with the other Ferrari.
Can't even think. Oh, I've just watched someone spun. Sheehan spun. That time trial would be that time is 0.2 tenths off Tier 4 P1. So need a lot of improving from Super Mario if he wants to compete with the Tier 1.
Lando improves as well, but only by...
It's that. I think you would struggle for pole in Tier 2 with that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind Tier 1 is BRT Jacob sets a more realistic lap of 128.4.
I think I jinxed it when I said that there's no real fight.
Shui sets P1
car on car in quali, but there has definitely been some action in quali.
I just realised I'm not on broadcast camera. No wonder I can't see anything. I've got TV pod.
And that's a spin from the McLaren literally as I go to watch them. That was not me at all.
But yeah,
purple sector for Mafia Boss Hunt.
Post set, purple P, sector 1. I'm just covering him as you cover the other person. He is taking the line very well.
As the other Jack crosses the line and goes P2, and the other Alfa Romeo will now cross the line and go take P2.
Post doesn't get purple sector 2, but his pace is good, but it seems like he's just maybe lifted off a bit. Do that sector 2.
Joel crosses the line.
Takes that final corner amazingly. It comes to the line, and it's going to be P3 for Toast.
As Matt goes to cross the line and he goes P7. Still, surely not representative times.
The two Mercedes are going to start their laps one after each other. Ted Kravitz and DJ Perks. But Ted will be looking at trying to get in the top 5 and qualifying just so he can start top 10 in the race with that 5 place grid penalty. Takes the first corner really well. Takes a lot of the curb on the exit.
That is definitely not represented from high. We saw him spin at turn 1. Jacob sets, or is he going on for a...
Ted Kravitz is definitely
that's
taking
just
a more adaptive line as he goes purple sector 1. Definitely a more inventive line than I've seen. It's clearly working.
And that is the Aston of Sunrise about to start his flying lap as Ted Kravitz goes up to sector 3.
Ted Kravitz is really stretching out those track limits. If he's even just half a centimetre more to the left or right at some turns, I think could be an invalidation. But it's worked really well for him. So how will it fare in his time?
Season.
As DJ has a bit of an accident, I
think.
So, and it's P1.
He does go on to P1 by just over 3 tenths.
And I personally think it was a blinder of a lap. It was really well done.
DJ goes straight into the pits.
But I tell you what, it was definitely one of the more different lines I've seen in Bahrain. He didn't really stick to the traditional one. He was really expanding those track limits.
The McLaren up to P7.
We have Shui on a lap.
His first clean run. As the Red Bull goes to cross the line to start his lap.
Shui comes into sector 2 and it's purple sector 2.
Purple sector 2.
Another one of those drivers that really likes to just extend the limits as far as possible.
As Sunrise crosses the line and goes P4 for Aston Martin.
As Shui comes to the line, and it's going to be Paul.
That's P
by
3 tenths, just under 3 tenths again.
A lot of work for those P5 and below. A lot of work for them to get up. It's only 2 tenths of a second between P5 and P1. As Jack Ledford is now coming through just the middle part of the race, of the quali track, whatever you want to call it. Riley drives second fastest in terms of time trials. We don't know how he fares against other drivers in the league because he wasn't at testing.
And he's yet to set.
And it's purple sector 2.
It's purple.
Purple sector 2. Not really being pushed in the limits of the track, I would say, as much as Shui. And that last corner's a bit wide. And he spins it on the exit. Yeah,
and that is a shame. That's a second lap that he's had to. Not had to abort. It's just been aborted for him.
Jack Ledford has the pace, but as he also goes into the pits at 111 mile an hour. But no, it's a shame for Jack. He has the pace, but that last corner wouldn't have gave him anything. But still Shui on pole. But Jer's closed.
Man starts a lap.
Jer's closed up the gap to Ted Kravitz in P2. Could be a Red Bull 1-2 if Jer can just find just under a tenth.
As you can see on the minimap, Williams and there's an Alfa Romeo and a Mercedes all starting.
GG Pitts is starting his lap. Hopefully he doesn't spin.
He's
again
one of 2 yet to set a time.
As Joel
excursion with his teammate.
Joel starting his lap. Quite slow times from Joel. Not as quick as we're used to. And he spins it round, takes it quite heavily, but manages to recover, avoiding damage. So
and he didn't get stuck in the gravel.
He'll nurse it home and go again. Shame for Joel. Matt comes to the line, and that'll take him still P12.
I don't think it. It's just.
I
I don't think that was an improvement.
No. Who's coming to the line? It's Sheehan that's coming to the line. Sheehan
not really a good
2 minutes down.
Sheehan definitely not on a
Yeah,
representative lap.
2 minutes down. As DJ comes to the line, he has not spun this lap, and it is P7.
It's only P7. I don't know if he'll be disappointed with that one, considering his title hopes at the start of the season. McLaren comes to the line.
Looks like Ted Kravitz is going to ruin Red Bull and their academy's fun. Could have been a 1, 2, 3 Red Bull Academy. But looks like Les Jer and Toast can improve. It looks like Ted Kravitz will ruin their fun. Jack Ledford's now on the lap.
Hopefully he can get around this one in one piece, unlike the first one, and keep it forwards unlike the second one.
Just over 5 minutes to go in this quali, as Jack Ledford takes that top corner quite nicely. Not really exceeding track limits, like really pushing the limits, but as a purple sector one, he's not really pushing the limits like we saw in Shuey and Ted, as he just locks up a bit.
He'd lose it slightly.
But he can recover, maybe just get into the lower half of the quali just so he's got a lap there banked.
And the Aston Martin also making a stake into the same corner.
As the Haas of
who
is it? The Haas of BRT Jacob just lets him by.
There's a Alfa Romeo goes up to the line, and that's Jack goes P8.
Definitely not.
Comes up.
Jack's definitely not going to get P1, but he does that last corner well.
And he is
not going to be a P1, but it will be a P4 with
second row.
P4 with a bit of wheel wobble. Definitely that wheel wobble cost him around about 2/10. So if he can get back to the pits, maybe get a bit more fuel in the car, I reckon he could push for that P1 off Shuey. But with Shuey saying that, maybe will Shuey come out the pits? Will he just stay there and hope that his lead's intact if Jack can get back in time and go out and set another one?
As Sheehan is again not on a good lap and he goes into the pits.
Joel's on an out lap as he falls to last place. Just not been Joel's race or quali, I don't think. But we know he's capable of a lot more.
Not purple in second sector. Not pushing the limits as much as Shuey was earlier. And as he heads down into the last corner, can he keep it clean?
It's nearly 2/10
nice. A little bit of a wiggle.
If he stays like this, he will take P3. Yep, takes P3.
P3.
I think that will probably be the last we see of Jay. I don't think we'll see much more of him. So it's been an alright quali for him. Of course, this season moving away from Aston Martin to Red Bull, I believe. Usually, for the last couple of seasons,
I believe so too.
For the last couple of seasons, he's been at Aston Martin for a while, and finally he's made the jump across to Red Bull.
To the bigger team.
It's fine. I mean,
well,
hey, I'm trying to combat Red Bull. Last season it got cancelled. I was Red Bull was in the background. I was leading everything, and then it got cancelled. Anyway, Jack Ledford's in the pit. He's only got a minute 46, so he really needs to think about coming out now if he wants to set another
Yeah,
lap.
those in the pits really
Yep,
haven't got much
and
chance
he's
to
coming
get
out.
around.
He's coming out now.
It's going to be difficult.
He's
By the
gonna.
time he gets to the end of the
He's
pit
gonna
lane,
need to
he's gonna
set.
have to.
He's gonna need to
It'll be
set
some
a quali lap.
interesting lines. It will see some interesting lines through some of the cuttable corners that he could just get penalised for.
Jack will need to set
Joel
one
goes
heck of a lap
across the
to set
line.
another one. He's not got any ERS
Joel goes
on.
off of the back of the grid and up to 12th. Sunrise behind him goes no improvement on that lap.
And Joel sneaked up to P12 while we weren't looking.
Yeah, I caught Joel moving up.
But I was
As
looking anyway.
Super Mario on a slow lap again, and it's not really been the ideal qualifying for Super Mario. He missed pre-season and he's not
Shuey's coming to the line now,
enough time here.
and it's a six.
Shuey up
It's
to the
apparently it's
line.
a 6:25-minute lap for him. Apparently, I'll go past that.
That is rapid from Shuey.
My game said that he did a 6:32. I think I'm just
High
a tiny
swaps
bit quicker
places
than
with
that.
Sheehan. And
Not
Jack heads up to the line.
not the best qualifier
No improvement for him either.
for the two
Well,
blue coloured
improvement,
teams, Williams and Alpine.
Matt
15th and
moves up to
16th.
third last from last with that lap. Overtakes Super Mario and Sheehan, which does put pressure on Super Mario to get this last lap right. And he, as we shot to him, we just see some bad wheel spin out of the end of sector
Jack
1, and that's
Ledford
probably
couldn't.
his qualifying over.
Jack Ledford couldn't make it to the line in time, so he'll stay P5 for now.
Joe around the last corner, but definitely not on a fast lap.
So it's a very varied top 5, and the top 5 there's 3 academies and 4 teams,
Lando
which is not
improves,
too bad.
but not in places. Toast pits. Sheehan up to the line. It's an improvement as well, but not. Oh, he overtakes Matt for 14, and Shuey sets an even faster pole time. And there doesn't look like there's anyone really to combat that, as Mafiavos crosses the line and stays P7. No, knocked down to P8 by DJ, who goes up to P4 with that last lap. And that looks like that'll be your qualifying. That is your qualifying order.
Yeah. But who would have wrote this? It's Shuey who's on P1. No one could have predicted that.
Yeah, that was really out of nowhere. But it is interesting to note that second, fourth, fifth, and sixth all have 5-place grid drop penalties. So that's going to mix up the grid a lot.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wait, Toast has got 5 place too. Yes, Jack.
Yeah.
My Scottish
DJ,
goat.
Toast, and Jack.
Jack is my goat. He moves up. He moves up to P4. No, P3 even. He moves up to P3. wonder what the tyre compounds will be. Will people be a bit more adventurous for those that are close at the back of the penalties? Or will they
I
go?
don't think there is really adventurous.
No, that's true.
With this game, it's more medium hards or hard medium.
No.
No.
So Shuey starts on the
differential.
mediums, so I get the tyres up. So Shuey is on the mediums, Jay is on the mediums, and then third and fourth of Jack and Ted Kravitz on the hards. BRT Jacob was the only one on the softs.
Interesting choice.
Mafia
Considering the
Boss
softs,
Hun.
I wouldn't think we used it all.
The other Alfa Romeo also joins Jack on the hards. DJ Perks goes opposite from his teammate Ted Kravitz on the mediums. That's the only Aston Martin in today's race is on the hards. The two AlphaTauris go opposite of each other with Toast on the mediums and Lando on the hards. The two Ferraris also go different, with Jack Ledford on the hards and Joel on the mediums, with the McLaren, the Alpine and the Haas all on the mediums, and Super Mario of the Williams is on the hards. So it's definitely going to be interesting to maybe watch BRT Jacob, see if he might have an interesting race, as Shuey goes very wide, nearly hits the wall in his formation lap.
Yeah, because if Jacob doesn't make up a few places off the start, may have been a bit of a mistake putting on the softs.
Yeah, looks like Jacob was going to try and get those
And there's
softs
a
a
spinner
lap.
behind. GJ Perks spins
Oh,
on the
for
formation lap.
God's sake. Feel bad for DJ. He's had a bit of a nightmare the day. But all part of the fun.
It's lucky it's not going to cost him.
Yeah, he should just. I think he should spin a couple more times just to get it all out of his system before he starts the race.
Yeah, so just make sure it doesn't happen in the race. As the Red Bulls line up, and it's a good slot for Joe.
That's the one thing I cannot do. I cannot do the grid line up.
It's either green or red.
I always like to see purple and then I slam the brakes and always then just jump forward and I'm like, oh, I only favour. Enemy 4, 5 red lights. And away we are in Bahrain. Shuey takes line, but it's not the greatest start.
That is the worst camera angle I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I'm currently looking through a fence. BRT Jacob has made up some places.
Jacob makes up 2 places off the start.
And Ted Kravitz is absolutely.
Ted Kravitz
and Toast have both had a bit of a crash. Interesting to see what's said in general chat in a minute. I'm keeping my eyes open. As Luigi says,
Super Mario making up a number of places off the start up to P11.
Yeah, Jack.
P16.
Joel's dropped to 12th, but Jack Ledford's up in 10th now.
As that's Matt sends it up the inside of Joel.
As Joel
takes Joel wide in the process. And gets Super Mario as well, so that was an audacious dive from the house.
But Shuey that's 4/10 clear of his teammate. Going just as they leave sector 2.
He didn't get the perfect start, but he'll be happy that he maintained the lead.
But already the gap between 4th and 3rd is 1.4 seconds nearly. That's just ridiculous.
Jacob is right on their tail.
But I mean, hey, Jack's putting in a good shift on the hards. He's the highest up on the current leaderboard on the hards, so they'll be looking for a better finish. And start Shuey sets a 1:34 fastest lap on the opening lap.
As further back, DJ looks to overtake that AlphaTauri and he sends it up the inside, gets squeezed out slightly.
BRT Jacobs just
can't quite get the position.
BRT Jacobs just making up time but losing it as well. I don't think his setups are too made for the straights.
DJ again up the inside of the AlphaTauri, and he does get the move done this time. And there's not. Oh, if he spins almost, and he loses 3, maybe 4 positions. Oh, he squeezed the Ferrari out, and the Ferrari might not be happy about that. That was a bit of an unsafe rejoin. But the Ferrari does get through. No, he doesn't.
Yep, the Ferrari's
There's a
through
bit of a
now.
ding-dong battle going on between Jack Ledford and DJ Pert, and Matt Copper behind is getting involved as well. As DJ maintains the position, but there's definitely some questions here also out the rejoin after a little bit of a whoops he had out of that corner. And Matt sends up the inside of the Ferrari, but the Ferrari looking to stick it around the outside, and he has done so.
Yep.
And continues to do so as they almost clash wheels, but he
Jack-
gets to position.
Jack's taking
That
that
is a
sideline.
pretty good move, but
The neck and neck, the
Haas
Haas just edges it in front.
the Haas has the tyre advantage, and
Jer goes
deploys all the way
quickest
down
to
the straight.
132.
He's gained about a tenth on his teammate,
As
and he
she
and he
had,
does not.
has spun round onto the
Final
curb.
corner and spins again.
I think
Right, and
that'll
spins
be
again.
that for Alpine.
Yeah,
10 seconds behind Toast. Gonna be hard.
he
It's
spun
gonna be a
3
hard job.
times.
The Ferraris are not,
Jacobs
have
still
not
stuck.
had the best of starts. They're back after 3 laps, back down to what they started the race at. But Jack
As we can see,
Ledford's managing to keep up with Matt, who is on the medium compound, the faster compound compared to his. He's somehow managing just to keep up with him.
Ted Kravitz trying to make up positions after the crash he had at turn 1.
Yep, as Joel takes it wide and Ted just slots in the
gets
middle.
that position. The most positions gained is currently by the McLaren of High 101, who's currently in 6th and started, quick maths, 13th? Maybe? Yeah? No, that works. Yeah, that sounds plausible. 13.
Mick requested that I unplugged my microphone and replugged it in. So that has been done. Shrey goes quickest.
The McLaren looks to get the position off of the Aston Martin ahead of him, up to P5 maybe if he can get this move done. As Aston goes defensive to the inside, the McLaren tries to send it around the outside, sticks it around the outside. Can he then get the inside for this corner? He can't stay on the Aston's inside, and he has to see the position, but he will get DRS again. And drops back slightly though, so possibly won't be able to make a move into this corner, and he is too far back. But he'll go again maybe later in the lap.
Tell you what, though, it's
running low on ERS.
It's definitely a race of just a 3-car race now between the 2 Red Bulls and the Haas.
And the Haas on a different strategy, which could bring him out of the race pretty quickly.
So it's Red Bull domination. So if you're sick of seeing that, then
yeah,
then just get
domination.
Get ready.
Pre-season.
Get ready to sleep by 8 o'clock at night every night. And every Saturday, 8 o'clock's your bedtime now if you're 16 Red Bull dominate.
Yep. The yellows in sector 2 as that is Sheehan again.
The Haas is putting in a good fight. He's trying, but Shuey and Jer are on a whole new level. They are just the best. They are just the best in the league.
And it'll be interesting to see if they can keep this on too, because in pre-season it looked just as sure as it does now, and then Jer had a couple of incidents and he dropped to P7 and ended up going for fastest lap because he lost control once or twice, and I don't want that to happen again when Tier 1 comes around. So hopefully the Red Bull can keep this very sure P1 and 2 fight. Currently it is only the Haas that might have something to say about that, as the Haas goes purple on the tail of Jer. Ted Kravitz again pushing the track limits, trying to gain more positions on these opening laps after his mistake. And that is a bit of a move for Lando on the McLaren. Gets it done nicely before the sweeping left-hander to right-hander. Sheehan now 21 seconds off the back.
BRT Jacob, I'm just surprised that BRT Jacob is still only within 5 to 6 tenths behind Jer. I genuinely don't know how.
As we see further back, the Ferrari getting quite close to the Alfa Romeo, but it has just become a big DRS train.
Yeah.
And no one's quite close enough to make any moves. Although Joel does send it up the inside of the Haas of Matt Copper and gets it slowed down, but gets squeezed a little bit and a bit of a snap, and he can't keep the position. So the Haas stays in P12, but he might go again into this right-hander, but he's not close enough. As we go overhead with this, these are the nice cameras. As we go overhead with DJ, as he tries to get close to the McLaren, who also in turn tries to get close to the AlphaTauri, as yet again Sheehan's round, and now 27 seconds off the back of the pack. And oh, the McLaren's gone wide, and the Alfa Romeo's gone even wider, and that is a big mistake from the McLaren. He drops immediately to P11.
Shame for the McLaren.
He gained all those positions.
And it's a Red Bull round. I don't know what happened there. But look, I'm going to rewatch the stream if I can manage to catch it. No,
catch it. I just saw yellows and then him drive off again. I think it was the exit of. He must have just dropped it. Doesn't look like there was any damage though. Yeah, no visible damage. So. Did well to keep it out of the wall, maybe. Depends on what happened. As there's the massive DRS train, and there's no. I have no idea what's going to go on here. As the McLaren is just watching a ding-dong battle between.
I genuinely thought it happened. Yeah, I don't know if he tried to. Maybe he was within.
I think he was an Alfa Romeo in the wall. And he's almost Roman. He has Roman Grosjean'd it.
But no, I saw that Jer was at 4 tenths off Shuey,
and Matt's
spun, so I don't know if Jer maybe tried to overtake Shuey, or maybe clipped the back of him and spun round.
Maybe.
But I definitely didn't involve the Haas, who's now 2 seconds behind. So the Haas hasn't benefited because the Haas could piggyback.
The Haas maybe got caught up just a bit.
The Haas could have piggybacked off Jer for his DRS, but now. Jacob's going to have to give it everything just to get within a second, just so he can try to keep up with Stewie while he's on those soft compound.
Just to stay ahead of Joe.
But I think Jacob won't finish top 3, but I think for the first 7 laps, I think he's been quite a good driver. He's kept up well with the 2 quickest drivers in the league.
Ted Kravitz getting very close to the back of Jack Ledford going into the final corner. He's basically pushing him down that last straight. That's snap, and he's had to take to the gravel.
That's something that's been slowly happening as the race goes on. Ted Kravitz fell all the way to second last, and Jack Ledford fell to 3rd last. Yeah. And Jack Ledford and Ted Kravitz just as a duo slowly moved their way up from 14th to 15th all the way up to 7th and 8th.
Matt sends up the inside of Super Mario, gets the position. Oh, the Ferrari of Joel was round at turn 1.
A shame.
Super Mario does lose the position to the Haas, but has now got. Is that DRS back on the Haas?
I'm just looking at Jack. Jack's getting about a 10th. Jack's getting about a 10th, 2 tenths every sector on the person in front of him. He could have Lando within 1 or 2 laps if he keeps it that way. Because he's in DRS now.
That was a bit wide from the Haas there.
So Jack, all this corner well of DRS and is now a part of the DRS train.
Joe back within half a second now of the Haas after his spin.
That's so well.
His incident.
We'll have just
Jacob
a
might
moment,
not have much to
of
say about it.
clapping for Jacob, who had a valiant effort, but
That moment of clapping may be a bit bittersweet, as he's probably about to lose this position down the straight.
it
Not
had a
much he
good
can
run.
do about it.
He's
Joe
definitely been a
gets a
standard
much
driver
better
as he
exit,
goes
and
into the
Jacob
pits.
goes to pit. Them softs clearly fell off at the end as he lost.
He had a very,
Around the 2-second
good,
gap to
he had a
Shuey
very
to a
good 8
4-second
laps. I think he gained a lot of places. The strat worked. He'll fall down a bit now, and he's just hoping that
But he'll look to gain it back at the end on faster or newer tyres.
he'll be on the hards at the end. So
right up the back of the Williams.
well, if that Shuey's on the mediums, there is a lot more people that need to pit in front of him.
And Matt maybe gets to position again. Super Mario tries to stick his nose in, doesn't, but will get the DRS back, and maybe he can get another move done and keep his position. A little bit of a wide entry from Super Mario, but doesn't send it, and the Haas keeps the position. Oh, and the Haas is round. Why did I say that? Because that has got to be commentator's curse. The Haas keeps the position. Oh no, he does not.
And Jack Ledford
Camera
and Ted is
absolutely
fighting.
useless.
But Jack Ledford down the 8th and is a lot slower at that exit. I think Ted and Jack might have had a bit of a coming together there as the McLaren benefits.
The
It goes in
McLaren
between.
benefits, yeah.
But I think Jack just went ahead of Ted Kravitz, and then as I turned to him, he was slow out the exit. Ted Kravitz kind of just jolted up.
A little bit wide on that corner, probably pushing the track limits a little bit too much.
I don't think he's been the cleanest race so far, but it's not been as safety car filled as I thought it would be, which is always what we want to see.
Well, we're only 10 laps in.
That's true. Can't see it.
We have got a big DRS train that will probably heat up getting near the end of the race when position gets more and more important. Currently it's just stick to the back of whoever's in front of you and let them pull you along. But you're going to want that position when it gets to the end of the race, and it might just get a bit more heated. As the Aston getting closer and closer to Lando, and all those cars behind him getting closer and closer to... It doesn't have a move open. And it's the same. Jacob came out in front of his teammate after his teammate spins, and will look to be gaining back ground on those on different strategies.
Tell you what, Jack Ledford will be interesting to watch on the mediums, I think. He's kind of stuck in there on the hards, and I reckon when he does switch on to the mediums in about maybe 7-8 laps time, I think he'll start climbing up the places. Same with Ted Kravitz. I know he's P5 right now, but I mean, I reckon when he goes on the mediums, those are the people to watch. Shuey's gap on Jer is now 5 seconds. Where have we seen this before?
The McLaren looking to send it around the outside of the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin keeps the position, but the McLaren will get DRS again. If you can get a good enough exit, there might be a move on going into turn 3. Or 4, depending on if 3 counts as that little king. There's no move on, and he gets a bit of a poor turn, and the Ferrari behind him is just ever closer.
I've not really seen any good battles. This like folk that have like battled like lap in, lap out. Have been swapping places.
We had a close-ish battle. There was an incident.
Yeah, like,
and that's only happened once or twice.
So. Like going back to like tier 4, like a couple hours ago, like me and Fabian, also known as Mick, basically from the start, from about lap 2 to the finish, it was back and forth battling, and lap in, lap out. It was mental. Right to the end, it was battling. But that's
the kind of thing you get in tier 4. When it comes to tier 1, it's just DRS.
This tier 1, it's like it's not as entertaining. I'm sure for the drivers, It's what very thrilling. You know, high speed straights, but it's gonna be. I think it's not as entertaining. I think tier 2
Yeah,
is.
the gap to the front is Jer 5.5 seconds off his teammate Shui.
Ah,
Jack 4.5 seconds off of Jer.
Head goes
Oh,
down.
Ted makes a move on Lando to
Lando.
turn 1. Ted gaining back positions rapidly
Ted- I mean,
as he's back up to P4.
in my opinion, I think tier 2 is the one to watch. It has the perfect balance of fast
Yeah.
people
It's
and
fast
fast
and
driving,
sweatiness.
and also great battles. This, when you look at that, everyone from P4 to P9 is in one little group, and it's not really entertaining.
That is a bit of a incident for Super Mario. Interesting how he's ended up on the inside of that corner. So
It could have been
either had a very odd spin or maybe contact with another driver.
Well,
Sheehan pits from 12
fine,
seconds off the back.
you'll have a lot of fun when you're looking at FIA clips tomorrow.
Yeah.
The one job I've not been given. First I was a team principal, then I'm like, I'll be a driver, then I'll be a sponsor, then I'll be a tier coordinator, then I'll be a media. Right? It's only one job I'm not being given
I
yet.
don't know FIA is all it's cracked up to be. I'll find out after this one.
To be honest, I'm just glad that a certain person's not doing it, because they're a bit biased, not gonna lie. Referring back to my lifetime ban. Do you know about the lifetime ban? Were you a part of that? You know of it.
I know of it, as in heard of it when I joined the league. I didn't witness it.
No, it was very funny. That was actually very funny.
DRT Jacob makes a position up on Nakagosana's toast pits.
I don't know why I'm watching Shui.
Toast pits onto the hards from the mediums.
I feel bad. Wait, where's
outpowered
Sheehan? Sheehan's been lapped.
Oh yeah, he's been lapped.
That's fine. That would be me in, like, if I raced tier 1. Sheehan would have probably lapped me like twice. Luigi's asking if you can show the tyres. No, Luigi. You could just... Can you show the tyres on the leaderboard?
Bosh.
There you go, Luigi. Don't say we're not good to you.
It's fine. I know how to work this very well. It's like
Toast as pitting for the hards as Shui pits for the hards. Jack will take P1 of the race, but for how long? We don't know. Shui is on a slower compound as Jack Ledford beats him out. But of course, everyone above Shui still needs to pit. But it's Shui and Jer both now pitted and are back together. Only 4 tenths in it. No, 6 tenths, sorry, in it.
Interesting that Jer pitted a lap early, knowing that otherwise he'd end up double stacking with his teammate. And he clearly didn't think he'd be able to extend. So he just made sure he wasn't stuffed by the Red Bull pit. By the Red Bull garage.
I mean, you should have seen me in tier 4. As soon as I saw Fabian go into the pits, I just made a straight beeline to the pits. I'm like, I can't take these guys any longer. But no. That's interesting. I mean, so it does look like Red Bull's prioritising Shui, which is rightfully so. But hopefully one of these races they might give Jay the lead. So I think that would be quite interesting to see.
By the McLaren.
It's
dropped
Shui
positions.
Shui gets up to 6th now.
Bit of a spin.
Jack led for them 5th. The Aston Martin of Sunrise in 4th. On to Ted Kravitz in 2nd.
Setting purple time.
And Jack in 1st.
Purple sectors.
Something we haven't seen in a while actually is Jack in 1st. Back in even before I joined, like Jack won the championship quite a lot, so nice to see him on P1. But Also, he still needs
Used
to
to
pit,
be
so
consistent, but apparently not as consistent anymore, according to people who've told me that. No.
for a lot of folk
Name.
for a lot of the folk on like racing today, I think the new game might have changed their pace ever so slightly. The likes of like in Tier 3, you've got Dance, who's like he's been upgraded so much in the new game, but there's a couple of folk that have maybe dropped down a bit. But
Yeah.
it all equals out, and hopefully we'll get interesting races across all tiers.
It'll be interesting maybe to watch Tier 3 because we had a bit of a warm-up earlier in the Mercedes Academy, and we had some pretty good battles, me and Luigi. Well, a very brief battle, me and Luigi, and then I made a mistake and forgot that there was that death curb.
What team does Luigi drive for?
Mercedes.
Thought so. That'll be why Zaki wanted to go there. One of the reasons, anyway. That's fine. Not like
There's now not a big DRS train anymore because of the pit.
Yep. As Jack goes up to P3, that needs to pit, of course.
Other Jack pits.
Yep. Jack on the mediums. This is where
goes to P1.
This is where things start getting interesting. New mediums v relatively new hards. There might be a couple that might try and go, screw it. I'm gonna last as long on these hards, and when it's like last few laps and they need to pit, that's when they're gonna do it.
And there's a spin from DJ at the start of Sector 3, and he drops to second mark.
It's fine.
Still 40 odd seconds ahead.
I think DJ Perts could probably park the car, take a flight to Monaco, come back, and I think he'll still be in P15.
Yeah,
I think DJ Perts could fit in a whole fortnight like holiday. He could just go to Monaco for 14 days and then come back, and you'll just see Sheehan coming over the horizon. You know, I mean, it's a shame for both drivers because we know that they're definitely promising drivers that should be at least top 10 in this leaderboard. They've just dropped down. Same with Joel, same with Toast. Like the drivers that are just not having a good
fair play
race.
to Sheehan that he hasn't just left.
He might think he can get back into it. But no.
I mean,
he is
at that point
he is gaining. He's gaining about 3-4 tenths a lap, but it's not enough.
As Lando,
Jack goes quickest on the hards. As Jess now back up to P2.
He didn't jump anyone in the pits.
Yeah, so that's Shuey P1, Jer P2.
As we are then. Well, as we were before the pit sequence. We're back to a Red Bull 1-2. Where's the surprise, I suppose? Super Mario and P7 on 16 lap old hards now. Is it possible we could just extend those hards and maybe box for softs in, like, say 4 laps time? Because that is probably... Oh, that is a bit of a snap, and it's done well to keep the Aston Martin behind him. Because that was a bit sketchy for a second by the Williams. Them tyres are definitely falling off a cliff and proving that I am definitely losing my mind thinking he can box for softs as he spins. Ooh, hello,
3 seconds from
Tokyo
Matt.
Drift. And there's the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin just absolutely bins it as Super Mario and Jack Ledford ghost for a second. Not quite sure what that was about. They both ghosted and went through each other, but Jack Ledford gets the position on newer tyres, and Super Mario does lose a position, but it wasn't to the Aston that it looked like it would be to, as the Aston tries to go round the outside of the McLaren at a very unorthodox point, and that was an odd line. But he must have some damage. It doesn't look like it, but he did just absolutely slap the wall on the exit as Super Mario now comes into the pits to fault on new mediums, presumably. Down into turn 1. The McLaren stays ahead of the Aston, but turns in on the Aston, and bit of contact as they now head up into the DRS zone. The Aston will get DRS, but didn't get a very good exit, and falls back a bit. Can he get? Is there a move up the inside, all around the outside, as he goes all the way up the outside and sends the McLaren round, and the McLaren has just been absolutely wiped out, and that was not his fault, and that is probably going to be something for me to stare at tomorrow when that gets submitted as a clip.
Yeah, it could be.
And if it's not submitted as a clip, I might think about maybe submitting just the stream point of view, because that was a very weird attempt at a move.
Also, by the way, if you check the league Discord, I'm now God. just in case you're ever confused. Or I'm back in my Jesus arc. But I see BRC Jacobs back up to 3rd, which is nice. He's definitely my driver of the day.
But he is currently on very old. There's a yellows in sector 2, as that is
Toast. Is it Toast? Yeah, it's Toast this round.
Yeah.
It's not been a race to remember for Toast. That gives Jack someone off his back, so Jack can just push and try and get. I think Toast is now just going to be looking to try and break into the top 5. Don't know if he will or not, because Ted Kravitz is finding the pace on these mediums. I reckon he could have Jack within a couple of laps, maybe by about lap 24, lap 25.
As DJ comes out of the pits and comes out of the pits and maybe makes contact. Yeah, he makes contact with the Williams.
That happened for
and
me in tier 4.
Yeah, that looks like what happened in tier 4 with.
It was a Williams that just
coming out the pit.
Just beelined me.
I'm gonna say the same thing that I was gonna say to you. Is I'm gonna say that was a racing incident, because when you're coming out the pits, cold tyres, and that racing line lies to you. As DJ is round. And
that's what I said in that report. I said probably a racing incident, but it did ever since then.
Bearing in mind as well, he kind of T-boned you. He's probably going to have ended up with wing damage from that, and I don't know with the damage we've got on if you would have really got damage from that.
For me, like, I didn't really, but I think it was ever so slightly a tiny touch of wing damage. But ever since then, I dropped like 8 tenths to Fabian. I went from 6 tenths behind him to 1.6 seconds, and ever since then, like, I closed the gap to a second, and then it dropped back, and it closed back to a second, and dropped back. It was just ever since that I kind of struggled.
And then it just ended up.
It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's back-to-back P2s for me. It's the second ever time I've got a P2. Second ever time I've got on a podium. And also, the quickest Ferrari tier 4 driver wasn't even there. So, DJ's retired on the pit, so he's had enough.
Ferrari.
So Sheehan will not be last. Sheehan will not be last.
Not necessarily, anyway.
Unless he gets disqualified.
27 seconds to make up before he... Yeah. Matt Copper's got a penalty. Let's have a very brief look at that. I reckon that's 3 seconds for track limit.
Wait, DJ pitted, then retired. So DJ's still on the track.
Is he? Oh no, yeah, that happens, isn't it? Yeah.
He already
then pull off to the side. And...
I think you find he went in, and I think the pit crew screwed him. But he had enough and just gave called it a night.
Even if you retire when you go into the pit lane, it still shoves you back out again.
That's a bit random. Anyway,
yeah, it's a bit odd. You'd think that
luckily
use
it
some
didn't.
initiative and just stop in the pits.
Luckily it didn't cause any damages. I see Jack Ledford's now closed the gap to other Jack to 1.7 seconds now. So it's down from 2.6. His Toast is 10 seconds behind, and is barely gaining on Jack and Jack.
It looks like he probably won't make that up when it comes to the end of the race, especially if he's under.
Not a race to remember for Toast, I don't think.
And he is under pressure from Sunrise heading into turn. I think that's probably turn 4.
Yeah, it's closed the gap a bit up to Shuey. It's only 4.7 now. Because
It's a
Shuey.
bit wide from the Aston Martin. It's a very, very odd line. Yeah, and to be fair, Jacob as well, on hards that are 4 laps older than Jers, is still within just outside of 2 seconds. And he has a just under 9-second buffer to Ted Kravitz in 4th. So it's a very, very good run from BRT Jacob. Again, this is the only real close fight here is Lando to Ted 1.4,
Yeah.
Jack to Lando 0.8, well 0.9 briefly, and then Jack Ledford to Jack 1.8.
But honestly, there's not been any good fights like there was last year in Tier 4 between me and Mick. I mean Fabian, but definitely Mick. There's not been any good battles. And I'm really hoping that like the Jack's starting to close into Lando a bit. They're on the same compound. The last few laps could be quite an interesting one. But
I'd hope for
I
Williams' sake that wasn't Mick, because if that's Mick's true pace when it comes to Tier 2, I might have a problem.
you might have a problem, and I caught up to him so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm gonna have him driving in Tier 2 if that is him.
oh wait, does he drive for you?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for you, I really do. Yeah,
I signed him. That's my fault.
To be honest,
really,
when I was looking at the list, and I'm like, oh no, I know. Oh, the only people that's left is Mick. And then like someone out of the blue is like, I'll sign for him. I'm like, get in. And I managed to get Chad in, so. But I'm like, oh, I have to sign Mick. I have to like unban him from the Ferrari Discord.
Being rejected by everyone because of.
Oh, I mean, I just started making memes. I'm like, do you want to drive for Ferrari? I've got the second quickest time trial. Do you want to join and we can make a super team? And they're like, no, I'm buggering off to AlphaTauri. I'm like, why? So you should we set up? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, for God's sake.
Second Red Bull team.
Everyone just goes so for Shui set up. Like genuinely, can Shui just not sell them to people so they can drive for Ferrari? No joke. Yeah. I'm really
now having 0.3 of a second.
I'm really hoping that there's some better battles in the last few laps, like Tier 4 between me and Mick. Oh my God!
The closest battle we're gonna have.
Jesus Christ himself has entered Discord. Anyway.
Oh, little bit of a kick out from the rear of the Aston Martin as he tries to get the power down a little bit too early and goes wide again at that corner. I'm surprised he hasn't been pulled up on track limits because that's 3 times I've seen him go wide there. And well, 2 of them were very wide. That was probably worthy of a warning.
I forgot to get screenshots of Tier 4 results.
Oh yeah. They'll be on the stream, won't they?
I bloody hope so. Who else was there?
Yeah, they should be on the stream. Otherwise, you've got a bit of a problem.
I think I remember.
If it's any help, we got a Williams 4.5, so it's fine. That's all you need to remember.
Dark Ledford gets 3 seconds. So
you're gonna forget all the others. It was a Williams 1.2.
If they're not on the stream, then I'll just do Mick, then me, and put the 2. I'll just sneak the 2 Williams in for you, just to.
Lovely. Jack Ledford now with a maybe 3-second penalty for track limit. I presume, yeah, it is it. And I'm so surprised the Aston Martin doesn't have 3-second penalty for track limits because I've just seen him cut the bit out of turn 1 to turn 2 to, if that's turn 3 then that might be turn 3. So that's now 4 bits where I think he probably should have or could have had warnings and he hasn't. Or he might have, but not on all of them. as he just seems to get close to Toast and
Yeah.
then fall away from Toast when it comes to the DRS zones. These bits where he can really maybe hurt Toast on the straights, he just isn't close enough. Sheehan pits again from... Oh, and he DNFs. Yellow's in Sector 3 as he will go properly.
Sheehan has not came last, but it's unfortunately 15th for him. But it's not last.
Yeah, Oddly comes back out the pits and retires at turn 1. Yep, he's going back down the pit lane. He is going to retire at turn 1 because that's how AI works. Good game, EA. Good game. JDM Sunrise again not close enough to Toast at turn 1 as Super Mario getting very close to the back of the Haas of Matt Copper, and he's going to get past before the braking zone, such as the overspeed of the ERS and DRS. And he gets a good line out of turn 1 and gets a good exit, and he's straight away before Matt can really fight back with DRS. So, and Matt doesn't have any ERS to fight back either. Super Mario's way past before the braking zone.
Yeah.
And he'll cement P12, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose he didn't really get much practice in. And it's a shame for the other Williams driver as well, who just so decided they wouldn't drive for Williams and then got kicked. That was a bit of an odd start to this race, and I can't say I'm too happy about it, but we'll move on. Sunrise again, going very wide again. Somehow not getting penalised for that. Because he's still within 0.5 of a second. Yo's in Sector 2 as that's the McLaren who I think pitted for a fast lap attempt. Spinning at the S section.
I've just been tasked to do something, so give me a second.
Okie dokie. JDM Sunrise again not close enough by the end of the straight. He's got absolutely no ERS compared to Toast 60%. So the odds are he's probably not going to get past by the end of the race. More yellows in Sector 2 as that's the... Oh, it's probably blue flags for the McLaren. Oh, he's AI mode. Matt Copper tries to go back down the inside of Super Mario. He does get it done. Super Mario stays on the inside for the next corner, gets the better exit, but the Haas goes off the track and cannot keep the position, but will get DRS again and uses the little ERS he has, and he can't make a move. Jacob ignoring yellow flags. Jacob has yellow flags. Hold up. Wait, what? Oh, he was ignoring yellow flags. Hang on a minute. That might be a bit of a... Oh. He must have must have overtaken someone when there was a guy in AI mode. I don't know. That was a bit odd. He had no one to overtake though, so it's weird. That's again the little very close to DRS train, and there's Yo's in Sector 1 again as High is off again, and he isn't actually AI mode because he's spun, and I doubt the AI is going to spin, so he is back in that McLaren. He is a minute off the back of the field, which is a big shame. Shu with a 6-second gap to Jer, and finally Sunrise gets the 3-second penalty that I was really expecting him to get at some point. It's a shame for Aston Martin, but surely it was deserved.
I'm nearly finished doing my thing.
Well, Tier 1's nearly finished doing its thing as we go on to halfway through lap 27 of 29.
Back for the final lap, do not
And
worry.
there's Joel is round.
That's a shame.
What is that camera angle? That is absolutely pathetic. He comes back on right in the way of the Haas-Williams battle and gets in the way of my Williams driver, and I'm not going to be too happy about that, apart from the fact that Williams does get the position with no front wing. No, he does have front wing, it's just not rendered in for me for some reason. He does have a front wing, actually. And he does get the position. And maybe you can get this position off with Joel and make me a bit happier. You never know. As the two Jacks going down the straight on the back of Lando, not close enough to make a move on each other or Lando, as he almost pushes him through turn 1, does Jack Ledford. Yellow's in sector 3 as High comes into the pits to DNF, so he's going to stop in his box and then go back out to turn 1 and DNF again, because that's how it works. Super Mario half a second off the back of Joel with ERS and DRS, not much ERS. Joel also has no ERS, and Matt has got absolutely zero ERS, so he's completely spent all of his ERS trying to get past the Williams at the end of this race, and he just hasn't got past Williams at the end of this race. And the Williams looking to maybe get past Joel on this second straight, he's still half a second back, so he's probably not going to have a move open to him, and he just doesn't. But he does have the faster tyres, but they are definitely nearing the point where the hards are the faster tyre. BRT Jacob in third with 19 lap old hards. Fair play. Because that is a stint and a half from BRT Jacob as he goes on to the last lap with a 5.5 second buffer to the Mercedes in P3. The only real fights are going on in the midfield here as going into turn 1. The Ferrari is still behind the Alfa Romeo, and that Alfa Romeo is still behind the Alfa Tauri, as that is Jack Ledford round at turn 3, if that is turn 3 or maybe turn 2. And maybe Toast's not going to catch him, he's absolutely no way near. Jack Ledford's not really lost from that. The only thing he's lost is a possibility of that P6, if he could have made a move on the Alfa Romeo. As the Alfa Romeo gets closer and closer to Lando, but the Alfa Romeo's on older tyres and the same compound, but he's just gaining on Lando, and he has pretty much the same ERS, but again, that is Matt Copper round again. It's a surprise that he hasn't done that more, because he was pretty awful in the practice sessions I've done with him. He literally couldn't keep the car straight. I was faster than him over a 5-minute distance.
He comes to the line and wins, and fastest lap for him.
Joe comes to the line.
Yeah, I guess I've the second time penalty.
Jacob's 5-second time penalty from P3 will matter. It will knock him down to 4th, but I
BRT
think
gets
BRT
Jacob gets an undeserved 5-second time penalty. So a bit of a timing glitch there.
Yeah, I think that probably might get overturned, because there was a very weird yellow flag incident where he ignored yellow flags somehow, which the only way I know you can ignore yellow flags is overtaking under yellow flags, and he couldn't have physically overtaken anyone. He was nowhere near anyone.
Yeah.
But anyway, Super Mario right on the back of Joel going on to the last lap. He goes a bit wide, but he's going to still get a decent-ish run. If he can absolutely send it and take the Ferrari out, I can laugh at you for about 2 minutes. He doesn't get any move done because he's not quite close enough, and they'll cross the line to make up the end of this race, P11 and P12 respectively, as Matt Copper crossed the line for P13. We only had 3 DNFs. Did you know what? This race was absolutely not what we expected, apart from the Red Bull.
No. To be honest, it wasn't thrilling, but it's
Super Mario with Driver of the Day from last.
Yes! Come on!
That's fair enough. The Williams Driver of the Day. Lovely stuff.
I can't. Right, I've nearly got the results in the tier 4.
Lovely.
I just hope next week. I know Bahrain's normally quite a boring race. I hope if I'm commentating tier 1 next week, I'm looking for. I want to see battles. I want to see a lot of chewy lead from start to finish.
Is it Jeddah next week?
Oh,
Do we have Jeddah on the calendar?
I hope it. I really hope it's not.
Because we had Jeddah at the start of last season, didn't we? We had Jeddah instead of Bahrain to start last season. The one that worked so well for Ferrari.
Oh, you've got to be kidding
Maybe.
me.
next week we will be. Where is the calendar? Why is this such a?
So
There it is.
they didn't
Australia.
they didn't show results on the
Oh,
stream for tier 4.
oh, well done, guys.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for ending the stream literally as soon as Fabian crossed the line. Thanks for that.
Well, I suppose you can just see from the timing charts there.
Yeah.
That's the best you've got, really.
Thanks, Dan.
So
Yeah,
we'll
great
have
help.
Australia next round, and tickets are already open for the FIA. Oh yes.
I've opened like 5.
We have 3 already open. Oh, 2 open for
Hi.
tier 1. And
All mine are combined in the F2 one.
Yeah, I see.
You see. What?
I will end the stream there.